And I am hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the March 20th edition, 2025 of the Gimbalabs Open Spaces. My name is Newman. I'm hosting here with my good friend Harsha. Say hi, Harsha.
Hey, hey.
All right. We meet weekly to go through a open space. It's sort of a governance process where we go through our Notion board and any proposals. So this system is all based on a proposal. And as I share my screen and bring up some stuff, who knows what will be on the screen, but I think this is the good one. Oh boy, what can you see? I want to show you this. Okay. So here are all of our projects. And we're going to go through. Does anyone have any projects that they are bringing to the open space that we have that you haven't connected with us before? You have a project that you want to go through this that is in possibly this community review and consent section. Anybody? Um, as you think of those, the projects move through this process of proposal, planning. If they get stuck, they go into backlog. Right now, we handle generally the community review and consent part. Uh, then they go into this in process. If they get paused for any reason, they go in here, and then here are the ones that are done. Look, we've got 15 that are done. Um, these are the ones that we want to focus in on today. And they are like so. And for instance, this user testing service for Web3 apps. And this one, oh, look what I can do. Uh, is owned by Sebastian. Sebastian could talk about this one. I think that would be a good one. We've created another little bit of like an agenda, like in a running agenda type of thing. Um, these are the items. This one from Sebastian about the user testing service for Web3 apps. And then we were thinking this DREP process that Scott Ratio and I have been working on. There's also the Gimbalabs marketing plan that we can talk about. Harsha and I have been working on a uh, a proposal to continue with the Discord maintenance, which is interesting because it is uh, a proposal that's not in our system. Is basically one of the very first that Henson created on his Notion site. Okay, so with that preamble, anything in the from the folks here?
Yeah, I have this proposal, user testing service for Web3 apps. If you
Do you
want, I can.
feel would you like a few minutes to present it and talk about it?
Yep. Yeah, please.
Okay, I'll
Uh,
hand it over to you.
Thanks. Hi, everybody. This is a proposal. In the last session, I presented a proposal around the general concept is to start taking baby steps in the direction of evolving Gimbalabs in a kind of accelerator, an incubator, because in that area, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so. Has everybody got him? Yep.
Hello,
Yeah.
hello,
Yes.
sound, 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
Can you hear
Yes.
me?
Yes. Yes. We
Okay,
can hear you.
so I think my general framework is the same that of the next week. It's I think we have to take some steps in a direction that brings us as organization to different streams of income because currently we depend only on the Catalyst Catalyst funding, right? But as my proposal in the last session was starting a circle around front end dev, right? Right. I was based on the concerns and ideas you offer me. I replan the proposal, and I think and I consider your ideas, and I think that maybe a front end circle can be bigger also. So maybe we can take a step a little bit more small, but that can point into the direction of okay, maybe we can start to build some services, some offering of services that can be provided to the Cardano projects. So I think so. This is the general framework of this proposal: user testing services. Um, um, Sorry, a small bite, right? Because we can start to think. Like the idea is to start thinking, amplifying our concept of open spaces, but small, step by step, to other, but with the intention of amplify it to areas where we can get some kind of income. This will be a pilot from a kind of service, user testing, in the implementation points, in the item 4, I guess. I would like to you in your time read the proposal. It's less ambition than the first one. This don't involve the financial resources that the first one was asking, but requires some kind of funds, but less intense. This consists yeah, in the item number 4. Okay, compensation to the Gimbalabs members interested in building and coordinating. The idea is starting with building a course around user testing, because user testing is one of the areas that, in the same vein of the front end side, the Cardano projects need some kind of experience and consolidation around user testing service, user testing service. So it's a kind of service that we can provide, but all as is the methodology in Gimbalabs, all starts with building a course, a PBL that teaches people and the aspirants in the testing in a user testing service to know to learn how to do it, right, in specific methodologies, like in any PBL that we have built in this organization. Okay, those are responsibilities. Yeah. It's a general. The proposal is focused in the first step in the building of the course around user testing. If you go to the item number 4, you can see there the implementation points, details of the. Okay, those. First, to call and gather a group of Gimbalabs members interested in build this group of people that will build the course, right? In coordination with James. Second, we organize some working sessions to plan the building of the course. This is the usual procedure of how we build PBLs in Gimbalabs. And then start to building the course. The number 4 is, as in my initial version of this proposal, the involvement of Andamio as partner in this proposal. The particularity of this course is we have the building of the course, but in a second stage we start implementing the course. The implementation of this kind of course needs an organization open that open the gates, open the doors to these students, this cohort of new students certified in user testing, and the idea is Andamio will open the gate will be open to uh, uh, acquire these user testing services because it's a need of this organization and Damio, and for the other side, it's a testing proof of this Gimbalabs service can bring to the Cardano ecosystem. Okay, that's managed. The rest of the information is in the proposal. As in my first version, I hope I wait for your opinions and questions and possible useful objections. Yeah, that's for my side.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Thanks, Sebastian. Uh, let's do. Yeah, Harsha's got his hand up. Go ahead, Harsha, and then we'll do a round of asking clarifying questions.
Yeah, so I was just curious, how different would this course be from, say, PPBL module 101 and 102, which is basically covering the basics of what is a blockchain, how to create a wallet, and all of that?
Yeah, I think James can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the approach is to think in business terms, in the not okay. We can start to with some basic concepts about blockchain and specifically how the testers can onboard how is testing dApps, dApps specifically in the context of blockchain. But in general terms, I think we should focus this course in business application, right? How in general terms, in this moment I'm not the person that has the specific knowledge of how this can work. But in my opinion, this should be focused on, okay, a little bit of, this is not about principles of blockchain. This is about, okay, how we can support these blockchain companies, these blockchain projects in testing their products. So in this case, 101 and 102 will be about general considerations around how to start identifying possible issues, possible bugs, possible no. Before than that, how to start build the relation between the testers and the organizations, right? How to start to organize the work, and after that, there's the details about how to start to identify bugs, how to document bugs and issues in a in a clear way. Like that, those are my first ideas, but in the sessions that I propose in the proposal, in these first working sessions, the coordinator, in this case James, and the testers, the members of the Gimbalabs interested in participating in the building on the course, but also interested on being certified as testers and work with Andamio in this case, but not for free. Andamio will assign a treasury to the contributions of these testers. I don't know if that can help, can clarify a little bit.
Yeah.
Yes, personally, yes.
Perfect. Scott has his hand up, and then Andrew. And if you feel like you've got a question right up, go ahead and raise your hand, and then otherwise we'll start going down the line just to get everyone's thought in there.
Okay. Well, I don't know how to approach this. Like you were mentioning bugs, and I guess your side of it is testing on, I believe, like the developer side of the house as far as identifying bug security risks. How far out are you going to go as far as like end user interactions? Like I'm not a developer, but like I'm an edge case when it comes to dApps and certain programs and stuff of that nature. And then also, I think a cool thing about this, if you actually create the course and you have that team of testers, that you can also maybe assist in writing documentation for that actual platform as well. Like that could be a responsibility or future responsibility of testers as this gets built out.
Yeah. Yep. I'm not a developer also too, so we are in the same framework of knowledge and thinking and reflection on this. Uh, Based on what we have done in Andamio, because I'm part of the Andamio team, and I'm not developer. I'm part of in this moment I'm part of the team of a team that is doing user testing, right? And in my experience and in our experience in Andamio, we have noticed that all starts with the user testing from the user side. And the quality of the user testing in that area can help huge to developers to identify specifically what is causing the issues or the bugs. When a user tester doesn't know how to express with detail the origins of what is causing the bug, it's a problem for the developers. They that's the reason why they ask request to us, okay, man, you have to tell me specifically what are the steps how I can find this bug, right? And in a good portion of times, these non-technical user testers, they don't know how what the developers need, and that's the reason of the importance of this course. This course will allow the testers in general to understand what is needed for the developers to identify and at the end solve this testing. The user testers or the learners that take this course, they don't need to know about security of the specific technical details, but they need to know and they need to learn how to talk with the developers to facilitate the curation of the solving of these they didn't it's more than that, the identification of the roots of the bugs of the issues. And I that helps to clarify your doubt, Scott.
That's a great one.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Thanks, Scott. Andrew.
Yeah, hi. Thanks. Yeah, I think most of
Yep.
my questions have been answered there, but I'm just going to sort of clarify what I'm hearing and seeing. So the proposal is to create a course for a cohort of Gimbalabs members to learn how to test and refine skills on testing user apps.
Yep.
Or Web3 apps, I should say.
Yep.
So ultimately, the goal of this will be to create a sort of incubation service. So the team or the cohort can market themselves or market the course to test apps, to create income for Gimbalabs. And looking at step 4, I believe the proposal is that once the course is complete, Andamio would be sort of like the first test case, and Andamio would front up some money so that the cohort can test the Andamio platform thoroughly. Is that right?
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
Okay. Brilliant. I like it. Yeah, it's good. Thank you.
Yep. And from the perspective, Gimbalabs perspective, the idea is to okay, we have some with over the years we have built some kind of experience incubating and helping projects in the Cardano ecosystem to thrive and get some success. We can say, for example, we have cases here where people that brought ideas in the past, they matured those ideas here in the Gimbalabs space, and they took those ideas at the other stage, outside of our usual scenario, right? So we have some experience that we need to consolidate those experiences in a specific structure. So I think, in my opinion, this is a small step that is building a kind of service that help blockchain projects to in the testing user testing side can give us some kind of experience and some kind of data and how to provide these paid services to projects in general. But how you describe the steps, that's the general idea, Andrew.
Okay, thanks. Great.
No, thanks to you.
Monique.
Hi, I think that most of my questions have been answered. I think it's a great concept. I think that's always been kind of like my kind of talking piece is that a lot of the applications in blockchain technology or Web3, like the user experience is not that great. So having this type of service, I think, is phenomenal. There's usually a ton of really great solutions out there, but they're just really not accessible to users. So I think this makes a lot of sense. As somebody who's not a dev either, like this definitely, I love it because it creates a space for me as well, and I definitely see a way for me to contribute and also have a say. So I really like it, and I think my initial question was kind of like, okay, take this course and what's next, and we've pretty much covered that. But I guess my last question would be, and perhaps it'll be clarified afterwards. So there's going to be like a Gimbalabs like service. So there's going to be something that's set up after this course that kind of specifically where these people who've completed the course they can go to. They're like, I'm part of like this particular section, and I think that's it. So I finished the course. Like then what? Like then am I assigned something? Then what do I do? And that would be my last question. But otherwise, I really like this concept.
Monique, have you said really, really strong things about this, the intention of this course? Because I think the reason why we build courses at Gimbalabs is for giving access to the people, right? Giving access to the people beyond the course. So in this case, people dev, non-dev, Gimbalabs, or non-Gimbalabs members. But at the end of the day, we are with these PBL courses, we are open spaces of people to start to explore new things. What's next? The person that takes the course, and once they got the certification from the course, they can join. They can join to the tester group, the testers of Gimbalabs, and start to work with them. Right. The idea is to start testing our services first with Andamio, and with that data and that information and how these things go, we can start to build an offer, a specific offer around this. And the people that take the course, the idea is to
We
Lost.
sorry.
Yep, you just cut out for a second. But just
Okay.
after, Gimbalabs, then this becomes an offer to other projects.
Yep, that's it. Yep, that's it. Yeah. Thanks.
Perfect. Excellent question, Monique. That's awesome. Well, let's see. James might share some more details now. And then actually, Sebastian, before we, is your intention just to sort of, because this is the first, after this revision, so you're not intending to get a consent on it today, or are you just bringing it up for the clarifying questions and back to the proposal, or what's your intention?
Pues, difference to the last sessions, this last session, I think this time the questions or the clarifications went well in this time. So I'm not seeing in this time so too much doubts or blockers to get some kind of consent. But if you guys and girls, Gimbalabs members, think that we need too much time to consider the implications of this proposal, I have no problem at all.
Okay. So you are, if we can't get to consent today, or we can bring it back in future weeks to if we need time to consider. Yeah. So thank you. Simon, let's have one last question from you, and then we'll go to James for more details.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'd be interested in, I mean, James, I think you would take the main part in creating the course, right? So you're a full stack developer, I suppose? Or what is your experience with front end development? Since that is, we need someone to guide the
Yeah.
group.
Sorry, I have to say this is not about front end. My previous proposal was about front end, but this is completely different. Because I rethink the previous version of this proposal, and this one is not about front end. It's about user testers for general purposes, right?
Yes.
And I assigned James because he has the experience he has immersed in what the course needs to provide support to the aspirants to the course. But okay, James, go ahead.
Sorry for the confusion then.
Yeah, it was the previous proposal was about the front end and kind of a more generalized front end academy. And what they've done is, from my understanding, is that they've sort of what's the best product or the most impactful product, which I agree with, would be user testing. I think Monique sort of highlighted or underscored that like this is a real value creation in the community. But
That's
James,
correct.
what do you think? Let's roll it over to James, and maybe he can address his credential and why he wants to be involved with the project.
Well, I wanted to share just a little bit about the model itself. Is it okay if I share screen for a sec?
Let's do it. Yeah, man, let's do it.
So this idea is actually based on an idea that's already live. So this is called Lead Gen, and it's a new independent organization. Yoram and Nori have been planning and building this thing for years at this point. And the idea here is that lead gen helps to create a distributed network of people whose role it is to generate leads for Web3 organizations. And these are the first four clients: Andamio, Socius, Palmyra, and Endmaker. So these are relatively big names in the ecosystem. Socius is like a rocket ship right now, moving up. And Andamio, we're hoping to get in this conversation if we're successful, but absolutely excited to use this service right here. So what is it, right? Well, it's a two-sided platform where businesses can share about their company and the kinds of leads they want to get. They set a budget for paying for those leads. And then lead generators, people who learn about those companies and these processes, are able to go out into their networks, into their communities, and create leads for the kinds of things these organizations are building. And you can think about the case of Endmaker. They release a new product, a new feature every couple of months. They have a new thing to bring to the world on a regular rolling basis. So this work is really never done. So what we were thinking is, well, what if we took the same model as this, right? A distributed network of lead generators, and Gimbalabs could take the lead. We could capture this potential market by creating a distributed network of user testers. On the course side, it might look something like this. So in Andamio, here's the business lead generation course. And you can see there's two kind of overview modules: how to get started. This is just some technical background. And then foundations of lead generation. How do I do this thing well? I need to know what a lead gen does, right? I want to know if it fits in what I'm trying to do. And then I can kind of think for myself about what I want to accomplish. It's really built around kind of that personal growth. And then once you've done these basics, then you can move on and you can become an expert lead generator for one or more of these organizations. Maybe I only want to be a lead generator for Endmaker. So I learn about their key product offerings and I can learn to evaluate whether or not the leads I have in mind are valid. But maybe it's a different story for Palmyra or for Socius, right? And so these are unique credentials that somebody could earn. So if I jump back to the Notion board,
Oh, yeah.
we're thinking, what if Gimbalabs borrows this model and builds a client-facing product around Web3 user testing? And just like lead gen is training up a distributed network of lead generators, we can be the team that's training up a distributed network of Web3 savvy Web3 user testers. I think there's a market for this. I think this is a conversation that goes back actually several years in Gimbal Labs. This is what Playground served as for a long time. It was the place where people could come and trust that they would get feedback from people who already know about wallets, right? We're not teaching people how to use a wallet for the first time. We know we have people with a certain bar of knowledge around the ecosystem into which you're building. And now we can trust that those people will give valuable targeted feedback. And so, just as a potential course outline, that's why I wrote it this way here. Imagine if we had two modules, right? One, these are the nuts and bolts of how to give valuable feedback. And I changed the word valuable just a few minutes ago, right? Like if this is a product, it better be generating value, right? So how do we do that, right? How do we give user feedback that clients would want to pay for? Well, there's tools of the trade. There's ways to give the feedback and kind of practical technical skills I need to get. And there's also just kind of the softer stuff. What does good feedback look like and sound like? We can have some examples of that. And then you don't need to be a full-time Web3 developer, but maybe we would want just a few lessons just to confirm that people are savvy enough not to waste the time of clients. Harsha and I were talking about this earlier today. If I paid for an hour of user testing and I spend it teaching somebody how to connect their wallet, I'm going to be pretty pissed off and you're not going to get my business again. Right? We can be the group that people can trust to deliver lead generators, to deliver user testers that people can really count on to use their time well. And so, yeah, Andamio needs this right now. No doubt about that. But we think it's an opportunity to seed this pattern at Gimbal Labs. And if Gimbal Labs wants to take it, Gimbal Labs can run with being the lead gen DAO of this opportunity. And like Sebastian says above, we're not stopping there, right? If we do this well, now we're these many steps away from being a full-fledged incubator. If we can give good feedback, like from a humble user testing perspective, can you imagine that we're on our way to giving feedback from an investor perspective? And as some of the businesses that many of us here are building, as those start to become profitable, and as we start to imagine the ability to invest in and incubate new organizations, we certainly want this, right? If you're an investor, you better be a good user tester. And so the journey starts here. So this is what we have in mind, right? These additional modules could be a product offering, and we'd have to figure out how to market them and who to approach. But the hypothesis here is maybe just like lead gen found a few more partners, Gimbal Labs would be able to find a couple more organizations to test this out as a product offering after we test it with Andamio first. So yeah, does that help? And yeah, what new questions?
Yeah. Thank you so much for that, James. Let's check. Okay, I see Scott and Harsha have hands up for questions. Let's do that.
Just
Scott.
quickly, yeah, sorry. Just quickly, James. The platform. Are you going to consult with potential customers prior to creating the Andamio course? Or does that come later after the basics are covered?
In the scope of this proposal, it would come later. All right. However, it becomes an opportunity for anybody to pick up. All right. But I think just within the scope of this proposal, Sebastian and I won't be driving that now just because our priority first is to get this feedback for Andamio.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Scott. Harsha?
So I might sound like a slight buzzkill, but so in specifically in UX circles, there are people called professional UX testers who are people that constantly UX test. And the biggest problem with them is that they don't give actual feedback that real users would give, because real users would sit there, go through it for maybe like 2 to 3 seconds and say, fuck it, I don't want to use this. But if we are professional testers, we our feedback wouldn't match like what real people would. So that is my biggest concern. Yeah.
It's essential that we are precise with our definitions, right? And what you're describing is UX testing, right? And there's books written about that, and there's very stuffy people whose beliefs can't be shaken, and there's only one right way to make a button kind of thing. That's not what we're here for. We are here for user testing. We are here for the people who are not actually UX experts. And there are a few, right? Like a unicorn is a UX expert who also has empathy, right? And can look beyond best practices. But we're really looking for users specifically. We want the people, you and I had this conversation earlier, who look at a button and say, "Oh, I thought that button was going to do this." That's the best kind of feedback you can get. That's the most important thing for and the goal here isn't to have people, write research papers. It's to get people to say helpful sentences like that are actionable and lead to the refinement of the apps that people are building.
What do you think, Harsha?
I want to see how it works out and see if it makes sense or not for real companies. Yeah.
Let's have a response round. And so a response round is a quick, just a sentence or two, or thumbs up or thumbs down, how it's resonating with you. I'm of the mind, not because there's still a lot of questions, for instance, on responsibilities and treasury. Like a proposal is a request for a commitment, and basically establishing a contract. So there's a lot of things that we still need to, I still need to sort of look at for details. But I wouldn't mind getting kind of a vibe check of just in a response round. So we'll go down the list. For me, I'm actually very excited about this. I love user testing. I think it's one of the things, user-centered design, super, super incredible. I think the reasoning of why to start here and the start of the journey, also very good. James, let's skip over you as you're one of the processors, and we'll ask Arth if you want to maybe type in a feeling or a thing about what you heard, and we will go on to Adrian. Adrian, what's your thought? And then after Adrian, Andrew.
Both as part of Andamio and Gimbalabs, I think that's a good proposal.
Okay. And Andrew, and then Harsha.
Yeah, I like the sound of the proposal. I think it's been well presented as well today. So thanks to Seb and James for that. Yeah, and I'm not sure you mentioned it, James or Seb, but what really resonated with me is I do agree there's a huge market for it in Web3. I mean, obviously most of us are probably on Discord, and you may have been through that process where you see like a project that you like. Usually there's a Discord account, maybe it's not gone to mainnet yet, and you go on their Discord and find some lovely people. So they're all trying to build something out, and you quickly realize that they're trying to get towards mainnet, and they're basically relying on their Discord community to test their app for them, which fine. Not criticizing, but yeah, you often get the feeling that a lot of apps are very slow to ship because the testing phase goes on and on and on and on. So yeah, I think there's definitely a market there. That's me.
All right, Harsha and then Jeremy.
Yeah, for me, I think at least to start off with Andamio, it makes a lot of sense because what Andamio provides, I think most of the community members in Gimbalabs are direct users. I mean, I think it'll make most sense for like the Gimbalabs community with Andamio, but the rest of them, I really want to see how it works out, to be fair.
Oh, excellent, excellent. Jeremy and then Monique.
I like it a lot. It's there's a handful of skills that are sort of latent in these communities, and this mobilizes that. It's a network skill that just user is a network skill that's broadly distributed, and anything that can kind of bring that to the surface, it does it in the same way that it's in a space between like crowdsourcing work and community college, right? It's kind of somewhere in between there where people are able to get some personal growth, but it's not like hyper professionalism or anything like that. It's a latent skill they have. They've been using it. They need a little bit of guidance to kind of package it for sale in a way. So it's entrepreneurial in that sense. I love it.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Monique and then Nori.
I'm a big fan. I'm really excited to see what happens in the next stages and see what unfolds. So yeah, that's pretty much my
Perfect.
2 cents.
Excellent. All right, Nori and then Scott for 2 cents reactions.
I haven't been here for most of the conversation, so apologies, but I am part of the Andamio team, so I'm aware of the proposal and the intent and very supportive of it. I just want to throw it out there. It feels like this is a proposal for the creation of a domain. And because of that, some of the details don't have to be hammered out as long as the primary driver is known and kind of the key responsibilities in space in which it will work, which I think is there. So supportive of that, but I just wanted to call that out. It feels like we're proposing to create a domain to go off and figure out how to do this.
Okay, excellent. Nori, thank you. Yeah, the creation of a domain. Scott and then Samuel, which might be Shaggy.
Now I like the proposal, and what I like the most about it is that it actually provides an opportunity for non-devs to actually do something within the community that's considered useful and valuable. For a while, like I love Gimbalabs, but for a while I kind of felt out of place because like I wasn't a developer, and as many times as I tried to become one, I could just never pick it up. So in that aspect, I think this is a great proposal and a great opportunity. Not just for people in Gimbalabs, but for across the community.
Yes. Oh, wow, that's a great point. Samuel and then Sebastian.
I vote aye.
Yeah, okay. Thanks, man. Uh, all right, and okay, Sebastian, this is yours. Simon. Simon. Perfect.
Yeah, my last words as
Oh,
the proposer of this proposal is this is a proposal with a low risk, but in my opinion, a huge implications for Gimbalabs because this kind of proposal, these baby steps, mobilize us to make money, to act in the market. As you said before, there is a market for this, and I think we can take our chances in that market for the benefit of the Gimbalabs community, the Gimbalabs members that can have opportunities to build a career here.
oh,
So, can you hear me? Oh, that's
yeah.
it.
We
That's
cut
it.
off that last bit, but I think we got where you're going. That's great. And then Simon.
Yeah, I think that sounds really good. I really like that James pointed out that we want to see how lead gen works out first, to just not to replicate something that in the end was missing a vital ingredient or was catering to a market that in the end wasn't like really working out. And yeah, but I think it sounds, yeah, everything has been said. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that gets us. Thanks so much, everybody. That gets us to the end of a reaction round, a round of reactions. Um, are there Harsha? What do you think? Um, I sort of, yeah. How do you feel? James has a question or has his hand up, but yeah, go Harsha first. Before James, Harsha, do you have any any thought
No, I
on the
feel
sort of
like
structure here?
no, I think we can, if there are no objections, I think we can jump to a consent round. I feel pretty good about it.
Okay. James, did you have a
Yeah, I mean, so I don't think this proposal is ready for consent because we do have to like figure out what is the budget we're actually asking for, right? So
yes,
details like
yes, yes.
that just need to be done before we can bring it there. I think it's for me like sections 10 and 11 potential risks and the review and adaptation plan. Those are nice things to have. And we should add a few bullet points there. But I don't think we can even start consent before we just kind of flesh out the budget. But to connect to that point, I just wanted to bring it back to what Harsha was saying. And this is a question for everybody. Harsha, I think you did a really good job framing your your anticipation for doing like the first round of things, but your doubts about whether or not it's scalable, right? Will there actually be other clients for this, right? And I think that's the question for all of us. And your level of confidence in response to that question should inform our funding decision here because this is an investment, right? Gimbalabs has eight shared ADA in a treasury. It's not enough for all of us to quit our jobs and make a living yet, right? But it is enough for us to make strategic investments that might help Gimbalabs get to the point of being a sustainable business. If you felt like there was 95% certainty that there are thousands of clients that would pay for the solution we're describing here, well, that would make it a pretty good investment, right? But if you feel tons of doubt, oh, this is a pretty good idea, but I have no idea if it's going to work, and I'm putting the odds at more like 10%, that would also inform how much funding you would think is reasonable to risk on this proposal, right? We want to compensate the people who work on building this course. When we do, we're making an investment in the future of Gimbal Labs, but it's an uncertain investment. And so we have this opportunity as we build the budget to think in that regard. How much are you willing to risk? And how do you do the informal math of how that risk might pay off? And so what I would my
You're right.
recommendation from all of that is like, let's think about this for a week and maybe Seb and I can propose a budget, but people can give feedback on the budget based on your own reflection on that question.
Yep, go
Yeah,
ahead, Sebastian.
yeah, completely agree. We can wait for considering some details, but we must
I get a
fair.
little yeah.
Uh, yeah, we can wait to consider more details. So
Yes. I get a little that 10th man thing where everybody when there's just blanket agreement and it seems like it's the best thing ever. And that's I generally am the one that's like that can uh that can be that 10th man or the person that gives some counterpoint or contrast. Okay,
yeah,
so the next step here is back to the final refinements, especially around compensation. Um, and I'll share my screen because they're right here. Does everyone feel confident, and actually, Harsha, it's going to work out perfectly, just like we planned. It's like we're pros at this or something. Because one of the things that um, this proposal brought up is the need to answer this question. If you wanted to participate in a discussion around this proposal, where would you do it? So, and it's a genuine question. Uh, how do we communicate around proposals? And it's around this sort of Discord reshuffle for the proposal workflow. Um, and Harsha, do you want to explain this part about the Henson site and all that?
Um, so about like the Discord redesign proposal?
Yeah, yeah.
So initially, like when we first did the first version of Discord redesign, that was done before all our processes were set up. So it was done in Hinson's personal Notion, and we wanted to do a second round of redesign, and we were looking for uh, feedback on how to go about it, like what is useful for you, what isn't useful for you. And for that we were trying to look for channels that made most sense, and right now in our Discord we weren't sure where to even ask those questions. uh, so the idea was we weren't using circles anymore, contribution circles anymore. So should we have all of these channels, or should we just have like a proposals like channel where like all the discussions happen? So that's what one of the questions we had, but we need to think of like other things that we need to redesign as well. Is that what you're looking for, Newman, or did I just talk like random stuff?
No, no, that's exactly what. Now, does anyone have any question about this sort of proposal? One of the key things that we wanted to ask, and that was, does it need a new proposal, or should we just keep going on the old proposal document? We created this proposal, just as a, to start that process. Um, and we just wanted, I don't think, because of the time, and I really do want to get to a DREP, the next proposal in our thing. Let's see, Harsha can read that in the chat for us and sort of, but I think um, I want to, I just want to bring this one up and sort of get it in the hopper. So it really should be in the planning phase. This is in the planning phase. So, uh, yeah, not necessarily asking for consent, because I would love to get another one that's also in the planning phase, uh, and spend the next 20 or so minutes on, is this DREP uh, process and workflow. The DREP, is that what do you think, Harsha? Do you think
I
do we
think
think we've explained the
we have
Discord
30 more
maintenance?
minutes, no? We can kind
Yeah,
of introduce the DREP proposal, I think.
yeah. So the next one is this DREP process for the community DREP role. And I will open it up and share the link, and I'll get Scott ready. Scott and I will talk us through this. Let me share a link. Did anyone see this in the Discord or the Notion before now? Or are there any other the DREP, the folks that have been involved with the DREP conversation? I know that Steve isn't here. I was hoping that he would be here. And I lost my, okay. So I'm just gonna give us a second to go to review it, and then we'll talk it through. And Scott, how are you feeling? Are you ready to go through it with you, and I could go through it together?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Whenever you are.
Okay.
Be ready.
Okay, cool. And you all can see my screen. Okay. We worked. So we, how many DREP votes have we done so far? I think maybe two.
Two? Yeah.
Yeah, two.
And we've been doing them. We've been doing them with creating a proposal using our same format of proposal. And we've also used, I'm just kind of giving you the situation of like the what is before we jump into like what might change. So here's the contribution circles discussion. Yeah, we've got this DREP governance chat category in Discord. And so that's sort of the lay of the land before we get into this proposal. And back over here. Okay. So the current situation is, and basically I want to spend about 5 minutes, no more than 5 minutes presenting. Scott, I think we can do that. And then we'll go through more rounds like we just did. So here's the current situation. Gimbalabs is figuring out the best way to be a DREP for the community. That's us as the Gimbalabs community. The current process is not ideal, that's the premise. And we have the opportunity in experimenting with different processes. In solving this meaningful problem, that's a throwback to our primary driver of how to be a DREP that would empower individuals or organizations in Cardano and other constituencies, meaning that we have the opportunity to sort of, how does a community become a DREP or get a constituency and represent a community? Okay, so we've got these are links to other Gimbalabs DREP proposals and information in the Notion, and you can go back and look through this. I'll sort of skim through. The needs and wants in the interest of time, I think, Scott, which one of these do you think is the most important?
I mean, I would say that Gimbalabs is a constitution or an institution of Cardano.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That we really have become a point for people that are, that has that we've got the trust and the sort of longevity in the community. We are an institution now, and getting, so we can sort of pioneer a good process. So here are the things that we want out of the proposal: a documented process for the DREP to follow and maintain, so that it coordinates all of our effort and doesn't waste effort, I guess, around these GA. I use that in there, the governance action. And another outcome is that we become a trusted institution for DREP delegation, so that people are like, oh, I like Gimbalabs, I can participate there and I can delegate to them. That Gimbalabs acts with integrity according to the primary driver and beyond other things. What we don't want is to become political or fraction the community or create an overcomplicated process. I think we should jump to the process now. What do you think, Scott?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So what we so we're hoping to change the process and formalize this process. And here's the first part: is it creates a small team to facilitate and maintain the process. It's kind of like a domain. And this is the process. So that we change the Discord to facilitate this, and I won't go into the necessary these details. That we monitor like GovTools and X and other places for Cardano governance actions. And when necessary, we create a post and notify everybody, do a straw poll, and and we do this in enough time to discuss in an open space, and we are considering this time frame to discuss DREP governance actions. That when necessary, we create a proposal like we've been doing in the past. But in that proposal, one of the key things is that we have one document that has the opinions or the options, the pros and cons, if you will, for yes, no, abstain, and ignore. So these options. And the reason to do this is that it's all in one document, so data continuity and transparency. And Scott, what do you think? Does that sort of explain that? Or and then I'll just finish up with the whole process, and then Scott can jump in. Then, if necessary, facilitate an open space discussion, sort of like what we're doing right now, with a consent process and clarifying rounds and etc. And then here's sort of the kind of the heavy lift, or one of the heavy lifts. We would do the actual voting and write the rationale, and the rationale would include dissenting views, other opinions, because that's an important part of it. Okay, and here's another little important part. Oh, I just want to thank the finally. So we would close down the process, and we were thinking of GitHub as an archival sort of spot where that it so that it's immutable in a way, that you have a defined archived record, and then also clean up the Discord. Once we have that archive in place, then we can prune potentially the Discord so it doesn't get messy. Scott, does that help? The next thing we probably want to talk about is our funding, and we're not. I think that we're not asking for consent in this round. We're just this would be the first part. Shaggy, before we get to your Scott, did you anything in there that I missed, and sorry to just run through it. I was interested in time.
No. I mean, you ran through it pretty quick. Yeah, no, I don't have much else to add to it, except for there is kind of a time crunch, because there are two. I'm not saying that should be the driver to move this forward, but there are two governance actions that still need to be voted on by Gimbalabs, as far as I know, since there has been no discussion or proposals for.
Okay, and Jack.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of pick y'all's brains a little bit about how that handoff would look between Discord and GitHub. You mentioned cleaning up the Discord, making sure that it's kind of free of clutter or whatever, but like what would constitute something being archived, or would that be a self-service kind of deal? What are y'all's thoughts on that? I'm more picking your brains so I can understand a process behind it for myself.
Yeah, for sure.
The idea is that we all know how Discord can get cluttered with archived channels everywhere, and so the idea is to collect relevant data, and I don't mean relevant like as far as it's relevant to me, but relevant to the governance team from those particular channels for threads. And the idea is just to make the information more available to those interested in finding Gimbalabs' rationale and how we went about coming to a particular vote on a governance action. So I don't know. I guess that's probably where the team comes in, to where it's not just won't be just one person that would determine when to prune and when to basically delete threads. And like I was thinking, like just brainstorming was like every quarter or something like that. Start pruning channels or threads.
Okay, open to popcorn questions, and then we'll move to a round. Adrian.
How will that work with the governance team? If I'm not happy with the governance team, is there a chance I can, vote them away, or how do we do that?
Membership who choose the governance team? Uh,
It's a great question.
yep. Yeah. I mean, yeah, because it would be more of like a facilitating and administrative role, and we certainly don't want it to be politicized, but there is that a question about what if we're unhappy the with the vote or the um with like voting one way or the other, that you've delegated to Gimbalabs and you're like, that's not what I want to vote for. Um, I, One of the things is that it goes in all of the sort of dissenting views or the non-chosen, non-voted for path would be included in the rationale. So that we wanted to make sure as part of the process. Um, but if you have, yeah, I think that would be an addition to like, what if you're not happy with the small team? And the reason why we wanted a team was just so that it didn't have like single point bias or be overwhelming to just one person. Yeah. What do you think, Adrian?
Yeah, that makes sense, but as it is usual with teams, is that they get aligned over time.
Right.
So because you are working together, and yeah, at
Yeah.
some point maybe they are not aligned with the whole Gimbalabs people.
Okay.
Part of our discussion also on that is that like it would be the position, and then like obviously figuring out who's going to be on it, I guess the first hurdle. But then it's 3 months at a time. Like that's kind of just an arbitrary time frame that we put on it. And it's also the reason there was 3 people was a suggestion is to hopefully remove bias. But I understand what you said, the concern as far as aligning thoughts after spending so much time.
That's great. All right. Ooh, I see a chat. James writes, when we host docs in Discord, we can hash them and include in the on-chain gov decisions. And Scott replied, the idea is to have the link in the submitted rationale provided during the vote, and this requires a static location, even if it's on chain. What interests me in this is that there are just like user testing, and there's all these best practices, and it's a whole domain. There's a real whole domain around archiving and archival stuff. And looking forward in this process, one of the many things in the process to like um, to investigate and to sort of get our heads around like what does it mean to archive stuff. Um, okay, let's have a just have a reaction round. Uh, just a quick reaction from the crew that are here, and then that'll bring us up because then we can sort of go back and address the questions and sort of revise the proposal and bring it back for another time. What do you all think for a reaction round? I'll excuse myself at the top of the list. James, do you have a reaction? And then Adrian. Oh, I forgot to check in with Harsha.
No, no, no.
That's why I love him.
I didn't know you were just calling out names, so that's why I lifted my hand. So if you're calling out names, I'll answer then. Yeah.
You answered that. Okay. Go ahead, James, and then Adrian.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this proposal. Obviously, like the requisite details, we're still working that out. And one thing that would help me with this proposal, I really love what Sebastian did with the previous proposal we were looking at, framing that work as a first step in a multi-step process. And so I like the bullet points where we can see, here are some possible outcomes, but I think taking a strong opinion about what processes this proposal sets in motion would be really helpful for me.
Okay. Scott, good. Yeah, okay. Um, thanks, James. And then Adrian.
Thanks for everyone who participated with this program. I like it. Uh, but I have to agree with James. I think it's a good first step, but I
Yeah.
think there's a lot, that will come over time.
Okay, cool. And Andrew, and then Harsha.
Sorry, it's on mute.
Yeah.
Okay. I think definitely think there needs to be some process around DREP process. The thing I'm reading through it, and obviously there's a bit on there, and there's something that doesn't quite feel right. Is that I don't think it should be something that comes into open spaces. I think there should
Okay.
be a separate. And maybe I'm not misreading it, but I think there's a line on there about bringing the discussion to open spaces when there's a vote on the horizon, and I just feel maybe it should have its own space, which then opens up a bigger budget thing because people are going to have to, the team's going to have to facilitate a separate space to discuss it, but I think that's necessary, in my opinion. So I think that's something to
That's a good one.
factor in.
Yeah, that's a beautiful, and that sort of is a concern slash objection. And that's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right. And Harsha, then Jeremy.
So I was mentioning this to Newman when we are talking about this proposal. For me personally, I am less concerned about which way the vote goes and how we decide. My biggest concern is I'm not going to read the governance proposal, and I would love for the whoever is managing the DREP stuff to be able to like decimate the information to the rest of us so all of us can also understand what's going on. So that for me would be the most important part. Yeah.
I think that might have been skipped over, Harsha. I don't know, because I believe we discussed that when writing the proposal. As far as disseminating, yeah, the different viewpoints for the governance action that the team writes up and presents to the community.
Yeah.
Oh, not just that, like just literally what the proposal is about as well. Like wherever there's a proposal on there, like I really hope like it can be like somehow filtered and like made easy to understand and just like communicated to us. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you very much, Harsha. Jeremy, and then Nori. Any comments or reactions about the proposal?
So, like, my reaction is a feeling of discordance, and I'm trying to unpack it in time to get my comment in here.
Yeah.
And it's something maybe little bit about what James said, where maybe this is just a step, and I just need to be patient. And then also what Harsha was saying, I feel like helped me unpack it a little bit too, which is this like sense that this is this proposal is optimizing something that I'm not sure of the meaning of. Like, and there's a risk of optimizing a meaningless process. Like, why does Gimbalabs vote on something? I know several people are already DREPs, are already voting. Um, and that makes me ask, well, is Gimbalabs meant to be representative of the vote of the people who make up that vote, or is there something more Gimbalabby that needs to be happening here? Which is kind of what Harsha was saying, which is can something more be brought to the table? Like, um, can can it be a better environment for understanding a governance action, like get it into plain language, reduce it to its essentials or something like that. In addition, I feel like what Gimbal Labs does is it interrogates situations to help people learn better and become better overall citizens of the community by upskilling. And I don't see that here. And I wonder if that's like the dissonant component, like it doesn't feel Gimbalabby in that way.
Ah. Ooh, I love that. Gimbalabs is an upskill of the community, and where is that in this process?
Yeah, like
That
connect
sort of
it to the driver, connect it to the primary
yes.
driver kind of a thing.
Yes. Okay, okay. All right, all right. Nori and then Shag.
Love the proposal in general. I think it's great to get people thinking about governance and how that works at Gimbal Labs. I totally agree with Jeremy on the Gimbal Labs-y thing. Like Gimbal Labs has a specific purpose out there, and it's usually around education and skilling up the community. And how do you do that with a smaller set of people rather than a larger one? So I'm wondering, yeah, components of that would be really great to see. And I'm also walking to work, so I could only listen to your presentation. I haven't read anything, but I didn't hear anything around when this proposal will be reviewed. And the other one is I didn't hear anything about retrospectives to kind of learn from each step and improve as we go. So those are my initial thoughts.
Excellent. Thank you. Shaggy, then Sebastian.
I don't know. I think this could be easier for everyone, like varying backgrounds in the community, if it was like a portal or something where they could just go and kind of provide their input directly rather than having to go to specific parts of a Discord and then ensure that their feedback was provided to a GitHub. I don't know. I'm just thinking process wise.
Beautiful.
Maybe that's more Gimbal Labby. Hey, you guys build your
Yeah, I was about to say that
I don't
sounds
know, just a
Gimbalabby.
thought. I feel woefully inadequate to provide input here. Sorry.
Oh no. Well, no, I think that was great. That was great input. Yeah, like a portal provide direct input directly. Okay. Okay. Thank you, Shaggy, Sebastian, and then Simon. Sebastian. Oh, okay. Okay, perfect. Okay, structural work at the excellent. Yes. And Simon, thanks, Sebastian.
Yeah, I don't have much input for that either.
Okay, perfect. Phew. So we've got 6 minutes. We got 6 minutes left. I think we give ourselves a round of applause for running through those different ones. Scott, in the way of closing up this part, I think we've gotten some good comments, and I think this will help us refine the proposal. What do you think?
No, most definitely. And thank everybody for their input and critique very much.
Yes. All right. Okay, so now up the level. I'm still sharing my screen? Yes. Okay. So
Adrian has his hand up for a while.
oh, I think Adrian, your hand's not up, or did you have another? Yeah.
Got to lower it, sorry.
Yeah, no worries, man. So what did we do today? Let's scroll down to this one and this guy. Okay, so we talked about this one. So that's today. And we talked about this one. That's today. Oh, no, not of that, but this. And the marketing plan is going to come up maybe in the next bits. Ooh. Okay. And then this Discord reshuffle. So I think let's do a checkout round, or if there's any from the floor, are there any comments, any burning questions, or like, oh, I wanted to do something and I didn't. Simon, oh.
Yeah, I really wanted to raise awareness for the submission form on Intersect. So if you have Actually, in the last GMC meeting, Tim named Gimbalabs as someone who should probably put forward a proposal for marketing. And I mean, I was a bit surprised, but I think it's a great idea. I love Gimbalabs. I think you should put something forward. And yeah, just wanted to raise awareness about that.
Okay, okay. Thank you very much. Are any other sort of announcements, or let's have a little checkout round. You could throw in announcements and things there. James, you want to help us check out?
Do you want me to lead it, or do you want to take, or I'm just starting it off?
No, I'll just start it off. James
Oh,
and
great.
then Adrian.
I mean, great job. It's amazing to have you guys really planning this session together and what a difference it makes. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And amazing to have this progress today. Thanks, inspiring, and I'm
Beautiful.
excited for the follow-up on all of these.
Excellent, excellent. Adrian, then Andrew.
Good discussions. Thank you, everyone.
Perfect. Andrew, then Harsha.
Yeah, thanks. I think today and the last open spaces, two really good, productive open spaces. So thanks for that. I'm going to say one little thing on the Notion board that annoys me. So I'm just gonna, you wouldn't mind just changing it. You see where there's backlog, and I'm sorry I'm
Yeah.
being pedantic. Could
Oh,
it
no,
be
no.
moved below community review and consent? Would that,
I love
or
it.
even lower than that, somewhere right near the bottom? Because if you do that, then you've got a nice proposal, planning, and then community review stage.
Yeah. I get it. We can.
That
I'm
is
not going to try to do it
emergence.
live.
Yep. Live
I'm not going to try to
emergence
do
in
it live.
action.
How
Amazing.
dare I with this? Yeah, terrible. But apart from that, a great job. Thank you very much. Yeah, see you next time.
Okay, good.
We could talk at the
Andrew, thank you.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you can. Yeah, we're going to have another meeting just directly after this. We'll have a short break, but that might be something to bring up there. Thanks, Andrew, Harsha, and then Jeremy.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. So thank you, Newman.
You are welcome, sir. Jeremy, then Nori.
Cheers. Good job facilitating that. That felt productive and driven. It felt really driven. I like that. And with the time change, this has moved just barely into my window of opportunity here in Alaska to come join in instead of catching it from behind. So good to see everybody.
So thankful that you're here. Nori, and then Scott.
Ditto on the time change. It works out for me, so I thought I'd join today. It was fun watching governance in action, the consent rounds and the proposals. Thanks for putting all that together, everybody. And I'm glad I could sit in today.
Yay! Thank you, Nori. Scott, and then Shaggy.
No, I just appreciate the time and being the first proposal I actually submitted. Learned a lot, and I appreciate the input from everybody in the community. Thank you.
Excellent, Scott. Shaggy, then Sebastian.
Yeah, I don't got much for y'all. Going through a lot of personal changes, so it's just good to get some sense of normalcy in these weekly meetings. So thank you guys.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Thank you. And Sebastian.
Great job, everybody. Thanks a lot. Congratulations.
Perfect. Okay, I think we can close out. I really do appreciate everybody's input. This just feels very Gimbalabsy, and I'm very happy to contribute in this way. Thanks so much.
There's going to be a
And
new section on the proposal form, Gimbalabsiness.
Yeah, the scale we can.
Yeah, we need that. Very cool. Oh, shoot.
Rate it like how Gimbalabsy is it?
You froze
Still
there for a
45
minute.
Yep. Oh man. Oh gosh. Yeah, it might be unstable. Oh boy.
But just so everybody knows, we stick around in this room for the next meeting, but we've kind of informally landed upon taking a 15-minute break. So we'll start it up again, same room, 15 minutes from now, quarter after the hour. If you want to stick around for the Gimbalabs Dev stand-up. Otherwise, thanks everybody for being here today. Newman, Harsha, thanks again.